the days. So Tuesday, woke up, had a little bit of gunk. I was like, I think this is pink eye. I'm not sure because I've never had it before. Turns out it was pink eye.
Well, was it just like scratchy and then like you'd wake up and almost your eye was like
gooped closed?
Oh,
yeah. So the day before, it was like the evening, I went to the park with the fam and I was like, there's something in my eye. So I was like keeping my eye closed. Grace's like, let me look. I'm like, you can't see anything. It's just, I feel like it was just this weird white stuff forming. And then Tuesday morning was when it really showed up and I was like, oh yeah. So then I went in, but Darcy, my 3-year-old, also wasn't feeling well, but not because of her eyes. She just was sick. She had a little bit of a fever, so I took her with me to urgent care, and turns out she had strep throat. Well, so then Tuesday, Wednesday, pink eye, woke up Thursday with a fever, and I was like, I think I've got the strep. I think the strep got me. So then I went to urgent care, and I had strep. And I guess typically adults don't usually get strep, but if you have a compromised immune system, which I was fighting the pink eye, I'm guessing, might have been why. So that's how I caught it, I'm assuming. But anyways, so then Thursday, Friday, I've heard this from so many people now, but strep as an adult is horrendous. It's horrendous. It's worse than the flu because the fever. Your head is just pounding. It's not the kind of cute cold where you're like, oh, you get to lay in bed and watch some shows and kick your feet up. And no,
you're genuinely,
you're like in a cocoon with your blankets, and then you're just closing your eyes because your head is pounding and it won't stop. It was so bad.
Caitlin.
It was so bad. So anyways, that's where I was. I wasn't playing hooky. I wasn't on vacation.
You were on vacation on the beach somewhere. You're kind of bedridden.
Yes. How are you doing, Gabs?
I'm good. I mean, I had a way better last week and weekend than you did probably. I just got to relax. But I'm glad to have you back. I mean, it was fun getting to sit here with Anthony Ponce, but we were both thinking of you. We're like, oh my gosh, Caitlin, poor thing.
It's that time of year. We're all.
It is.
I was just telling, and these guys were like, don't say that.
Yeah, we're like, we do not want that.
Yeah, I know.
Especially, with all you guys with your kids. It's like something new every day, right?
Right. I mean, pink eye, where did I get pink eye? I don't, how? I was the only one in the family who got the pink eye.
Well, that's good because it's very contagious. So that means that you're doing a good job of washing your hands and making sure
I texted you, I was like, Gabby, what's up with this pink eye? Because she had it before. I'm like, how long am I going to be out for?
Ago, and it actually was from a kid. I went to a party, and I'm pretty sure it was from a kid that I was around.
Okay.
And no one else got it, but I washed my hands, tried to just let it go, and you needed to get eye drops. Like, there was no other way of going around it. Anyway, let's talk about what's happening with the show, because we kind of have a wider range of some topics going on. One is talking about sales. So it's a person who wrote a book and going from maybe the sales world, instead of just using it for their corporate job, using it to sell yourself. Maybe it's in a job interview, you kind of have to do that, or maybe just everyday things like Facebook Marketplace. I love Facebook Marketplace.
Love Facebook Marketplace.
You got to make sure you're nice and confident and ready for the day, or maybe you do want to get into a sales position. Also, scammers are taking advantage of the government shutdown and doing even more scams, if you can believe it, because it seems like it's never ending. I have one cell phone of my 2, I won't say which one, constantly gets spam calls. I mean, I get 30 a day.
Yes, your work one.
Caitlin, I get 30 a day on it. Yeah, it's horrible.
Keep it on silent always.
No, and people are like, oh, well, just block the caller. No, I'm telling you, and it comes from Chicago, so you have to answer it because, like, maybe it's someone important, you know, trying to get a hold of me.
No.
Anyway, so we'll talk about that and address some of those things. Also, Botox injections. We talked about this on Good Day Chicago a little bit, or at least had a reader on it, and there's some fake Botox that's going around that people are getting injected, and obviously that's causing them to get sick and causing also some recalls to be happening. But first, let's talk about that, actually, the Botox warning. We have Dr. Megha Trivedi, who is a dermatologist at Rush. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You know, a lot of the time you go and get Botox, maybe it's your first time, and you're so confident in the person who's administering it, you wouldn't even think like, okay, this is going to be, you know, fake, or you might get botched in this process. But let's talk about how prevalent this problem is.
Yeah, the problem is that, you know, reputable sources of Botox are okay. However, currently the FDA has issued a warning that there are websites online, specifically they issued letters of warning to 18 different websites that are selling counterfeit products and unapproved products or misbranded. So if these are making their way into the market, and usually these are kind of more like, you know, backroom nail spas, not at reputable medical facilities, but, you know, consumers are going for these types of injections, and that can be pretty dangerous.
When you say fake Botox, what is the ingredients? Is it just water, or is it actually like hazardous material?
So oftentimes we don't know, right? So they can be contaminated. It can be unapproved botulinum toxin, so toxin that's coming from other countries where we don't really know the exact dosage or concentration of toxin. And then, of course, mishandled or kind of improperly refrigerated toxin. So, there's a host of issues, but we really don't know, and we want to stick with the FDA-approved products because, again, it's a mystery box and they can lead to a lot of issues.
Just in case people don't understand what we're talking about, explain Botox. I mean, it helps smooth out wrinkles and little dips maybe in your face that you want to take care of, correct?
Yes, that is true. So Botox is actually one of the FDA-approved brands of botulinum toxin. Botulinum toxin is a purified protein that helps relax muscles. It inhibits muscle activity. So it can be used cosmetically for issues such as frown lines or wrinkles, but also medically for people with chronic migraines, TMJ, sweating, amongst other medical issues.
Can we talk about the dangers of just even Botox that is approved? Is there any downside to Botox?
Yeah, again, you want to make sure you're going with an experienced injector, someone who's a professional, but of course, side effects can occur. So the most common side effects include swelling and bruising after the injection, and those usually go away within a week or two. The most kind of frustrating potential side effect is when that Botox or botulinum toxin, whatever product you're getting, is spreading to muscle groups that it's not supposed to. So for example, if you're trying to get frown lines treated, they can spread into other areas that they're not supposed to and cause droopy eyelids, droopy brows. Sometimes if you're using it in the lower face, it can even cause an asymmetric smile.
Yeah, that's the part that I've never had Botox before, but that's what I'm scared of. Is it true that even the most experienced Botox administrators can make mistakes and kind of make you have those issues where your muscles are drooping?
Of course, yes, absolutely. We've seen cases, rarely, but we've seen cases with even experienced injectors where the toxin just diffuses into areas it's not supposed to. So we, again, we have rules for our patients. Don't rub your face or get a facial massage on the day of your toxin injection. Make sure you're not sleeping on your face on the day of that injection, just to prevent those or try to reduce the incidence of that happening.
Okay, Dr. Trivedi, I want to keep you on the line, but we have to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Talk more about black market Botox that might be going around right after this.
Worried about
Welcome back. It's 10:09. Okay, we are talking about Botox and how there is this uptick in fake Botox out there on the market. We just discussed about, the dangers of Botox in general. Doctor, could we talk about how to avoid this? So you mentioned how most of the time the people who are getting this fake Botox are going to be in nail salons, I think you said, or like these smaller locations where you can get Botox. If you can't look at the label, you said get FDA approved, is there a way to double check that it's real and not fake? And also, how is an appropriate way to ask that? Do you know what I mean? That's like true. If you go get Botox and you're like, hey, let me just pause there and please explain to me that this is the real deal.
True. Yeah.
How should we approach this moving forward?
Yeah, so that's really important. And there's several ways you can go about it. So definitely number one is going to a reputable medical office or medical institution where there are licensed providers who are obtaining their toxin products from authorized distributors in the US. Now, as a patient going in, you can always ask to see the vial. You know, I would, if especially if you're concerned about this, ask to see the vial of the toxin. If it has it usually has a tracking number on it. It has the FDA approved name of the toxin. You can ensure that that's what they're using. And then another indicator is, you know, really cheap botulinum toxin. So, you know, if there's sometimes promotions at some of these places, but if you are getting toxin for $5 or less, you're likely getting fake product. So you want to make sure that if it's a deal that's too good to believe, then it probably is.
Honestly, like, I guess you could always assume that there'd be, like, you know, wrong Botox out there or these cases going on, but we've heard about it, you know, so much in the last couple of weeks. Question for you at Rush, have you seen any cases of, you know, botched Botox or black market Botox?
Thankfully not botulinum toxin injections, but with other injections, absolutely. I've seen a few cases of people getting, you know, filler injections, which is a different type of injection, and having severe complications from, again, like back of a nail salon or a provider who wasn't actually licensed to do these injections and likely use something fake. So it is happening, and, you know, we've heard of cases. It's only a matter of time that we kind of see more of this coming in.
Do you know why? Why is there a change all of a sudden?
I think, you know, people really want to get cosmetic procedures, and sometimes when they hear, oh, this toxin product is so cheap, I can actually afford this, you know, they want to go for it. But what I will say is cheap Botox can be really expensive, especially if you're harmed from it.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, you mentioned filler too, and correct me if I have it confused, because I don't know much about this space, but I've been seeing a lot of reports of younger people getting Botox, or maybe it's filler to help their TMJ. They're getting in their masseters, I think, and then it's also, but it's shrinking another one of their muscles. Does that go for both of them? You know, getting filler or Botox, that if you get them in certain spots, it might affect the way your mouth, your jaw is moving?
So, but more so with the botulinum toxin, because it's actually affecting muscle activity, right? Filler is just usually volume replacement. You're placing material in a certain area to replace volume or to kind of achieve an effect. Botulinum toxin, you know, of course, we're using it in certain muscle groups because we want to use in those muscle groups. For example, TMJ, you actually want to affect the masseter muscle because that grinding action is coming from that masseter muscle actually being a little too strong and kind of overall contributing to teeth grinding. And so again, if you're going to a licensed professional who know what they're doing, that's the most important thing.
Doctor, I want to ask, because I am in my mid-30s and I have yet to, I mentioned off the top, I'm nervous to get Botox, but I've heard a lot about preventative Botox. Could you give us a ballpark, which obviously person to person it's going to be different, but just generally speaking, when should we, if we want to one day, consider Botox? What age do you think is appropriate to maybe start that preventative Botox?
Yeah, that's a really tough question. You're right, absolutely. It's individually based because some people will start to have genetic lines on their forehead, you know, just genetically in their 20s, and other individuals, they'll have no lines at the age of 40. So when you start seeing those kind of what we call dynamic lines, so like when you're moving your eyebrows, you're moving your face, and you're seeing those lines turn into more static, meaning you're sitting there and you're not moving, and you're seeing those lines on the face. That's probably a good time to maybe consider doing botulinum toxin injections if that's one of your cosmetic goals.
You know, you made a good point with actually wanting to see, you know, the canister when it comes in the packaging. But even, I guess, if you're making an appointment, you could probably call or look on their website and make sure, do they have to put on their website or at least verbally tell you over the phone if their stuff is, you know, legitimate, if it's good?
Yes, of course. You can always ask that question. You can call ahead, and when you're going to a licensed professional, so that's a board certified dermatologist, a board certified plastic surgeon, injector that's trained by a physician, and is physician supervised. Most likely, you are going to be getting that correct product, but you can always call and ask about it beforehand.
Okay, doctor, because we still have you on the line, I'm going to ask a couple more selfish questions.
No, please, yeah.
Especially
free medical advice.
Because let's loop back, all right? Botox, a lot of it is fake these days. So maybe someone who's watching or listening is thinking, ooh, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to get the fake stuff. What are other options outside of injections that people can do to help with their wrinkles that are happening?
Yeah, you touched on an important concept of prevention. So UV radiation, sun damage, is the #1 cause of photoaging and wrinkles. So get that sunscreen on every single day. Even on a day like today when it's rainy and it's cloudy, make sure you're wearing SPF 30 broad spectrum sunscreen. That's going to prevent a lot of the sun damage and those wrinkles from coming on sooner. And then, there are other medical grade creams and products you can use with your dermatologist, such as Retin-A. And so, again, there's options if you don't want to go the injection route to prevent and kind of, make sure that you're doing everything you can to avoid those wrinkles.
Maybe some lasers or something too. I know I was recommended Moxie.
Something, I don't know.
It's like, it's the next step of just not a moisturizer, but not injections. So just those of you at home, if you're thinking about it, know that there are other things that you could do, maybe like at a med spa or something, as you mentioned, someone who's certified to do these more medical-like treatments for your wrinkles.
Yeah, totally. Are you saying even, doctor, we always hear, like you said, put on the sunscreen, even if it's a cloudy, snowy day like today. But what if you're outside for only, like, I don't know, 15 minutes at a time? Like, truthfully, I'm getting in my car, maybe I'm outside for 15 minutes, and then I'm getting back in my car going 5 minutes home, and that's about it. But should I still be putting it on? Is it still harmful even if you have a commute?
Yes, still put it on, because you might be sitting by a window and UV radiation is getting through that window glass. So I would say it's better to be more kind of cautious and put it on every single day, kind of put it right next to your toothbrush, and that's the biggest preventative method. And then of course there's Retin-A, lasers, microneedling, all of that, which is something you can discuss with your dermatologist. But yeah, absolutely, sunscreen is key.
Okay, Dr. Megha Trivedi, she's a dermatologist at Rush. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. That was very informative.
Yes, no kidding.
Yeah, double check your labels on the Botox that you're getting. Make sure it's FDA approved, right?
Be that person and ask.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you for sharing such an important topic. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll have you on again for sure. Snow day. Well, coming up, we are talking to Jason Levin. He is the author of Relationships to Infinity, the art and science of keeping in touch. He's going to be teaching us how to build these relationships, maybe in the professional environment, also maybe the personal relationships you have going on in your life. It's coming up right after this quick break.
Welcome to
Welcome back to Chicago Now. We just talked about fake Botox that might be on the market, which again, you feel confident going somewhere, you make the appointment, you're all excited maybe to have that big change, and then boom, something bad happens. So be that person, make sure you're speaking out. All right, switching subjects here, we're talking about making sure you know how to sell yourself, right? So maybe you're going through an interview process, maybe you're just everyday interactions. It's a good thing to know even if you aren't in the sales industry. So we're getting some tips from Jason Jason Levin, author of Relationships to Infinity, The Art and Science of Keeping in Touch. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Oh, I love your energy. It's going to bring us up too. Let's talk about it. You know, even if you aren't in the sales world, why is it still good to know how to sell yourself in an everyday situation?
You know, I think that it's important whether we're selling a service, we're selling an idea, we're selling lotion. I think that we need to understand that everybody wants to be in a place to buy. And so oftentimes we want to just say, you know what, I know how to do something, but in reality, people take in things differently. So when we have this perspective of everybody could be a potential buyer, then really it's getting around this mindset that the way that people actually sell is through listening. Are there better questions that you could be asking? One of my favorite stories to tell is Disney World. You're probably going to hear a question that's often asked, which is, what time is the 3 o'clock parade? And so if you just answer that question, you haven't gone behind the actual question. And so when we think about sales in all its different ways, when people say, well, what time is the 3 o'clock parade? What they really might be asking is, well, where should I stand at the parade at 3 o'clock? Or where's the best place to see the 3 o'clock parade? So too often I think that we're in a place where we don't ask that follow-on question to really get to a place where we can understand what the person wants.
Jason, what I'm hearing from that is, yeah, you put yourself in their shoes, right? Like, what would I want to know if I was that person? Your book, Relationships to Infinity, does this offer advice for people in their personal lives as well? Just all around life advice and how to keep relationships?
Absolutely. So I wrote the book because we say keep in touch, we don't. And so what if we actually tried? What would that look like if we actually tried to connect and reconnect with the people that we know, like, and trust? And so, yes, it does actually offer advice for both personal relationships and professional relationships. So if I were to say to both of you, okay, the friends that you had in high school or college or that first job, the people that you liked and trusted, that you've been meaning to, you know, I've been thinking about them, but I don't know what I'm going to say. What would it look like if you actually just tried to reconnect and let them know that you're thinking of them? And actually reconnecting with people that you've already interacted with actually makes you feel better, both personally and professionally. And actually, it's a wonderful relationship builder. And that's one of the reasons why I'm a huge fan of not just keeping in touch personally, but also professionally, because to remind ourselves of the good things that people have given us.
You know, Jason, but I feel like, you know, some people watching might think, well, I'm so busy with work, I'm so busy with my kids, I'm so busy with everyday life that they're almost scared to reach out because they don't want it to take too much time. So, you know, what kind of, but really, yeah.
No, you're right.
You might be stuck in an hour
100%.
conversation or you're
My husband says, just call him. I'm like, I can't.
I know.
I don't have time to catch up on the last 5 years.
Or you just feel that guilt. So what's a good way to maybe do a quick check-in or an alternative route to calling them on the phone?
So I think it's as easy as a text or an email. I thought of you, or I still remember when. You were helpful to me. I'm thinking of you. And so it doesn't have to be an hour-long conversation. It doesn't, because I agree, we're all busy for all different ways. And so actually, by these micro habits of sharing connection, of being able to have these little I'm thinking of you, actually re-enhances and builds that relationship. So that's one thing you can do.
Yes.
And you can do that with your ChicagoNOW colleagues. You can do that with the folks that you went to college with. And guess what? These little micro actions, oh, wait a minute, I thought of you, and you know what, I thought of you too. And that's all you need. It doesn't have to be this larger thing where now you're going after 50 people and you have to set up all these meetings.
That is 100% true. And I love that idea as a solution to what Gabby mentioned, because I promise this is the case for most people, I'm sure. You're like, I don't want to talk. So Yeah, just type, hey, I love you. Hey, I miss you. Hey, I'm thinking of you. Can we pivot to the professional? So I'm reading here about how you have lots of tips on people who have clients, people who are trying to sell something. I've had interactions recently with salespeople, and I can say that there are very big red flags that are obvious, but maybe can you speak to some of the not so obvious things that maybe someone who's watching who's a salesperson or who has clients of some sort that they might not realize they're doing that they shouldn't be doing? Not the blaringly obvious. My example, what I'm talking about is, I make this much money doing this. I don't need to chase you down because I make this much. Obviously, don't do that. But what are some of like the more subtle things that you shouldn't do in the business place?
You know, it's funny that you're talking about kindness, because I'm a big believer in kindness, and I think that those types of people is another reasons why we don't like the word sales. For me, I think I equate the words sales with helping and being useful. And so, you know, you might want to hire an accountant, you might want to hire an attorney, you might want to help somebody to help you manage your money, whatever that looks like. The folks that are useful, how can I be helpful to you, are the ones that are the best way of actually selling their service. What is the problem that you're actually trying to solve? And so the more that you make it about the person in front of you, the better you will be at understanding them and their problem. And so all these salespeople that love to just talk about themselves is actually the worst way to sell. And it gets back to my first point, selling's listening, and asking that follow-on question. So, you know, you want to be interested in Botox. Well, why is that? What is it that you want from your skin? Are you moisturizing day and night? What is it that you think about your face? So the question and then the follow-on question. And so I think a lot of people miss a sales meeting is really a discussion.
Okay, caring and listening. All right, Jason, we're going to be right back. I want you to hang tight. We just have a quick 1-minute break, and we'll be back with all of you talking about Relationships to Infinity, Jason's book, right after this break. Welcome back to Chicago Now. We are still talking with Jason Levin, author of Relationships to Infinity. Thank you so much, Jason. You've been giving us a lot of useful information. Whether you're in sales or you're not in sales, you can still, you know, sell yourself and keep in touch in everyday life. So let's continue on with our conversation about how to sell the correct way, maybe in a more professional setting. You know, one thing that I saw that you had mentioned is that storytelling in sales is very useful. Is that correct?
Sure. Storytelling is the most effective way to sell something, because that's what human beings connect with. And so whether it's a personal story, here's the reason that I got into this profession. You know, when I was a kid and I used to watch this TV show about attorneys, and that meant something to me. Or when I took this class, that meant something to me. And so the more that you personalize yourself and why you're doing what you're doing is a wonderful way to tell your own story. And then another way that you can tell stories is by sharing stories of how you've helped people in similar situations achieve their goals. And so the story can be both about you and your own motivation, and the story can also be about, once you've listened to the person and how they view the problem, then telling a story, an example of how you've helped someone in a similar situation.
All right,
so
Jason.
Storytelling is
Hear me out. Hear me out.
I'm
There's
listening. I'm listening. I'm listening.
There's some people, maybe myself included, that are so busy. You mentioned off the top, some people are just so busy that we are keeping our head above water. We're treading, and we need a lifeboat. The last thing we have time for is to text someone that we were friends with 6 years ago. Maybe we have come to peace with just the past of the past, and right now we're in the busy season. We're cruising, okay? Can you speak to the importance of these relationships from the past? Why should we be reaching out to people that we had once been in contact with all the time?
So the academic research is pretty clear on this, and I talk about this in my book. Weak ties, dormant ties. And so weak and dormant ties are people that can be helpful to you as you think about the next step in your career. People promote people, people hire people, and it is oftentimes through the relationships that you already have. If we use this magic word called a network, but in reality, keeping in touch with that ecosystem of the people that you've already interacted with not only can help you in your career, it can help you sell better, and by the way, you will feel better. So that even if you are in this busy existence that we all are, that if you just take the moment to think of someone, share a little bit of gratitude or a positive memory, that is maintaining a relationship. So that's the why, is that we're all human beings. We need each other. And to take that one moment, even if it's just 5 minutes a day.
You know,
it's just 5 minutes a day. If you have 5 minutes, come on. You have
That's true.
You have 5 minutes to, you have 5 minutes to think of somebody. All right, so the challenge for both of you, before the end of the day today, I want you to think of somebody that's been kind to you, somebody that's been good to you. They're like, you know, I've lost touch. I want you to just say, you know what? I thought of you. I was thinking of you. Thank you. That's it.
That's great.
And that is a good. And so, you will feel better. You will feel better. And guess what? The social science shows us they will feel better more.
Oh, they will too, right? Because they'll be like, wow, look who it is. That's
Look
fun.
who it is, a little love bomb, a little gratitude bomb, and all of a sudden you have fluffy bunnies and rainbows and joy. And that is maintaining relationships in an authentic way, whether it's personal or professional. So that's the why. It's important, and you never know where they are, where they might be able to be helpful to you.
Amen.
But is it okay, Jason, if you do send that text, maybe it's like before you go to sleep, and then you wake up 2:30 in the morning and you have a busy day, and it takes you like 24 hours to respond back to their response. Is that okay? At least you're still doing it?
You know, it's funny, in this world of where we think we need to be immediate, what the social science also shows is people love being thoughtful. And so if it takes you 24 hours to be thoughtful, or a week to be thoughtful, or a month to be thoughtful, sending a thoughtful response is actually more valued than just, you know, the hand signal or the emoji or something like that. So give yourself grace, give yourself the, I don't have time right now, but I've been meaning to. And then take that action when you are in a space to do so.
Start on the back of your brain, you'll circle back.
Go ahead, Caitlin.
Did you have another question?
Well, I just want to talk about your book because, like, you know, how do you walk through people through the art and science of keeping in touch? Is it like situation-based, where you're giving someone a situation, how you can maybe move better in that spot?
So I think that too often we just don't integrate it into our calendar. And so really when we talk about intentions and actions, it first begins with mindset, and then where does it live in your calendar? How are you identifying the people that are in your ecosystem, this magic word called a network? And then on a weekly basis, how do you begin that habit? And I think too often we think that it's going to some event or it's something about social media, when in reality it's aligning heart, mind, and so that you're on a weekly basis thinking of someone that has been good to you throughout your life and letting them know that you are thinking of them.
Okay.
And these small micro actions lead to larger things.
I love it, Jason. Thank you for joining us. Relationships to Infinity. Go get your book and also send your text today. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. Keep in touch.
All right.
See you later.
Well, coming up, we're talking about Zoom scam calls and how they're picking up. So we got more fake Botox. We're getting more fake Zoom calls.
I don't like it.
But we're talking over Zoom to Matt Mizenko. He's the GM of Nomo Robo. Right after this. Welcome back, 10:35. So we are talking about the government shutdown and how it's impacting the increase in scammers out there, which is interesting, a loophole that scammers are using to get to you.
They always have something.
Yes, so we are joined by Matt Mizenko this morning. Hi, Matt, you are the GM of Nomo Robo. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so first of all, Nomo Robo, that is a hilarious name, and I had the hardest time pronouncing it. It makes sense. Nomo Robo, no more robot callers. Can you talk to us first about your business and how it came about?
Yeah, sure. So our business actually goes back quite a bit. It goes back about 10 years, and it was created in response to a contest that the FTC used to have around developing new technologies for blocking robocalls. And our founder at that time, Aaron Foss, developed a novel technology that would allow you to effectively use two phone lines kind of in the same way that you would use one phone line. And on one of those phone lines, he developed a patented technology that would kind of see if it was a good call or bad call. And then if it was a bad call, it would hang up both lines. It was pretty interesting and kind of novel for the time. And since then, we've been spending our time developing a lot more newer technologies, and that's for both businesses and consumers. And for consumers specifically, we have a couple of applications, the Nomo Robo applications that run on both iOS and Android, and are designed, of course, to block bad calls and bad texts from getting through to you.
Okay, well, I might have to download that. Very interesting. So we're talking about how this relates to the government shutdown. What have you guys been seeing when it comes to spam calls during this last few months?
Yeah, it's very interesting. We had a lot of concerns that if there was a prolonged shutdown, we were going to see an uptick in spam calls. And as it turns out, we were very right. At Nomo Robo, we have a large honeypot, we call it, which has 300,000 phone lines that are basically phone lines that have not been used by a real person for many, many years, 5, 6, 7, up to like 10 years or so. And when those phone numbers get calls, what that tells us is that those callers are almost certainly going to be bad, because they shouldn't be calling those numbers. They shouldn't even know those callers exist, or those numbers exist rather. And so what we've seen during the period of the shutdown, comparing this year to last year, just the same time period, for Chicago specifically, we have seen a 170% increase in calls coming into our honeypot, which is certainly bad, and it's bigger than what we see nationally. But more importantly, of those increased calls, we have seen a 250% increase in unwanted calls, spam calls, scam calls, and so on, and all of the things that we type to block or try to block. So it's been pretty significant.
Where are these scams coming from? What countries?
It's hard to tell, because they're getting into the U.S. through U.S. providers, so they appear to be U.S. phone numbers.
Yeah.
But the problem is, without the FCC in place to kind of trace these numbers back because of the shutdown, we really don't know. Hopefully after the shutdown ends, which it looks like it's going to, we'll be able to go back and kind of trace some of these numbers back and see where they did come from. But for right now, it's kind of hard to tell.
What are the different kinds of scams that you're hearing come through?
Unsurprisingly, they are pretty much related to the shutdown. So the two biggest ones that we're seeing right now are around SNAP benefits. We're seeing a lot of callers promising effectively loans and unlimited free money to help you pay for food if for some reason your SNAP benefits have expired. And the other one that we're seeing, which is pretty common for this time of year anyway, but has been kind of emphasized by the shutdown, is calls around open enrollment for ACA, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, the same type of thing. People trying to get you to sign up for a new health plan or a different health plan or a health plan that may not even exist after you give them your credit card number.
You know, we hear about AI and how that plays a part. We know that AI-generated spam calls have been a thing for, I mean, the last couple of years at least. You know, how much more advanced are they right now? Is it just getting, you know, worse and worse? I've heard of people getting phone calls from their family member and it sounds just like their voice. Is that pretty common, or is that a really rare case?
Fortunately, that's still pretty rare. Unfortunately, where they are using AI quite a bit is they're taking regular AI and they're using it to comb the web to get information about specific individuals, to get personal information, whether that's their address, places they used to live, some amount of their social security number or what have you. And then they're using that information to make very specifically targeted calls to an individual and say things like, "Hi, I'm calling from your bank, John Smith at 123 Main Street, and I just need you to verify the last four of your social security number is 1234. All of a sudden, with that little bit of information, they appear much, much more credible. And now you're much more likely to get caught into giving them even more information, which they are then going to take and use and turn against you, and it can get bad pretty fast.
Yeah, it gets nasty. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to still talk about you with Nomo Robo and some of the other situations that you might run into. We'll be right back. We're back with Matt Mazenko, General Manager at Nomo Robo. You know, so Matt, we were talking about AI-generated voice scams, but also there's those phone calls that you get where you're prompted to pick a number right on your keypad. Does that make it even more serious when you are actually, you know, listening to them, pressing that number? Does it open up a whole other can of worms when you engage?
Oh, absolutely. It lets them know there's somebody there and there's somebody paying attention. So pressing any key or entering any number is an immediate signal to them that basically they have a fish on the line. Never do that.
You have a fish on the line.
Yeah, really.
Okay, so what about, because I'm not going to tell you who. If you talk back to them and you pretend that you're something that you're not to be silly, does that help deter them from calling you back, or is that actually make it worse?
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Too.
Is that effective?
It's a little bit of both. There's a chance that they're going to record your number for, you know, calling again in the future. But on the plus side, you are wasting their time. You are keeping them from connecting to another person. Yeah. And there are lots of what we call scam bait sites out there that do exactly this, and mostly for the comedy value.
Oh, yeah.
But it is a great way to deter these people, and you know, the longer you can keep them on the line, they're not calling somebody else.
Yeah.
Eventually they'll probably hang up on you, but it can be kind of fun.
Okay, yes. All right, I like that answer. Let's talk about, is this an app that you have then, the Nomo Robo? Can people download it? How can we use Nomo Robo to our benefit?
Sure. So NomoRobo is an app that we publish on both iOS and Android. You can just simply go to the App Store and type in NomoRobo, and download the app and set yourself up with a subscription. We offer both monthly and yearly subscriptions. And probably really important for your viewers, next week in the US here is what we call Fraud Awareness Week. And so for NomoRobo specifically, next week for Fraud Awareness Week, from Monday through Friday, 17th through the 21st, we are actually going to give NomoRobo away to anyone who comes to nomorobo.com/free. And they are going to be able to download that app and get a free yearly subscription.
Whoa.
No gimmick, no strings, no anything. Just download the app, put in a code, and you're going to get a free yearly subscription. There have been a couple of pretty large consumer surveys run recently where we heard from consumers very clearly that they don't feel that the government and they don't feel that industry are doing enough to stop this problem. So we decided, hey, let's put our money where our mouth is and let's give it away to customers for a week and give them the protection that they're asking for.
Get grandma's phone, you guys.
No kidding, yeah. Grab
download that thing next week.
It's just more of a worry for them. But before NomoRobo and maybe potentially other apps like you guys, what would you do if you were getting all these spam calls? Just get a new number?
Yeah, you could get a new number, but that only lasts for so long because eventually your number is going to show up somewhere else. So it's really hard in the modern age to not put your number somewhere. And unfortunately, as we've seen over the past 4 or 5 years, almost everybody is inevitably going to be impacted by a data breach of some sort, and then that number is out there and it's out in the wild, and it won't be long before somebody picks it up and starts calling you again.
Matt, does NomoRobo have a social media account, perhaps, that you guys are posting updated scams that people should be looking out for?
Yes, absolutely, we do. So we post on Facebook, and we also post on Instagram, and we do have a lot of content on our own website at nomorobo.com that you can come check out, where we talk about the latest scams. We talk about what to say and what not to say with some nice video content. We also have helpful hints of things to do and to not do, and to if you are a victim of a scam, how to start in terms of kind of unwinding that. So we have a lot of great content on our website that people should certainly come check out.
Matt, I'm telling you, I have 2 phones. I won't say which phone it is, but one's for work and one's for my own personal phone. I'm telling you, I get 60 spam calls a day. And people are like, just block the number, just do this. I'm like, no, I cannot use the phone anymore. It's just that bad. So NomoRobo will be my friend. Just wondering though, if you are getting just maybe 1 or 2, maybe it's not to the point where you need NomoRobo yet, can you report these spam calls? Is the government or anyone going to really do anything about it?
You can report them, and in fact, both iOS and Android have sort of built-in functionality where you can swipe the number one way or another and report it, and then either of Apple or Google will then kind of report that back to your operator. The problem is that they get so many of those reports, and so many of those numbers are rotated through on a daily basis. Oftentimes, they're going to use that phone number, they're going to make 1,000 calls with it, and then they're going to throw it away, and they're never going to use it again. They're going to move on to the next number. So it's, to a big degree, it's a game of whack-a-mole to a large extent, and it's very hard to stay on top of. There are billions of phone numbers available, so it becomes very hard to block numbers to the point that they won't have a new number in 5 minutes that they're going to call you back with.
Okay, guys at home, mark this down. Next week, NomoRobo. Go get the app. It's for free next week. Thank you, Matt Mizenko of NomoRobo, for joining us this morning.
Great. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Caitlin, I really wish I were exaggerating when I say I get, seriously, 60 spam calls a day.
I would say take this back. I'm done.
It's horrible.
No,
it's so horrible.
Yes,
anyway, we're going to be talking about golf, so maybe something a little bit lighter, get my spirits up. When we come back, there's a new book that's out that's going to help you maybe become a pro golfer, even if you don't have the experience and you're not on the course every single day.
If you need
back to Chicago Now. Sometimes the best golf lessons are taught by the pros, and pro golfer Todd Graves is hoping you can perfect your swing after reading his new book. Thank you so much, Todd, for joining us over Zoom.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Let's talk about your book. I mean, this seems pretty interesting if you can learn some tips and tricks without actually getting on the course. So what does your book kind of take people through?
Well, it's always fun to lighten up your guys' show with a little golf. You know, golf is always a fun topic to talk about. I played professional golf for a number of years, and then I went into the mission. This was back in the early '90s, to get better at playing the game of golf. So I started investing in instruction. I started working with the best instructors in the world, and after about 3 years, had not improved a bit, had actually gotten worse, and realized there was some real problems with golf instruction out there. There wasn't any consistent models. Everything was kind of anecdotally taught. There wasn't a lot of science behind the game. So so I kind of dug into it. I spent a number of years just digging into what would make a better way to teach the game, what's a better way to play, and that's what my life mission has really been, is finding an easier way to strike a golf ball. And I ran into a guy named Mo Norman in the early 90s, 1994, and Mo was regarded as the greatest ball striker that's ever lived, but he was autistic and he lived in Canada, and no one really got to know him very well. So I befriended Mo, and what Mo had discovered was the easiest way to play golf. So I researched his swing, dug into the biomechanics of it, and really discovered what Mo discovered, which was an easiest way to hit a golf ball. Now I've been helping people around the world learn what Mo Norman knew, and that's what my book really, that's how my book evolved.
So is there like a secret sauce that you're unveiling in your book?
The secret sauce is this. If you position your body correctly, you already have the swing inside of you. So most people are trying to like quick fix their swing. They're trying to find a tip that's going to help them. But if you position your body correctly, if you learn what's in this book, the swing will naturally occur. I mean, if I asked you to hit a ball on the ground with a stick, you would line the stick up with the ball. There's some natural things you're already going to do. That's what this book really discovers. And I used AI to kind of not only validate some of the things that behind all the science that I was teaching, but also to find inconsistencies. Actually, AI has helped me become a better teacher just from its resources, being able to understand what I was teaching and then regurgitate that back to me so I could help people even more with the information.
Let's bring back up the cover of your book, because it said something right there about AI. Let's see if we could bring it up. Yeah, using AI to unlock the natural motion inside you. So pretty much it's helping you kind of find other ways to explain it to folks. Is that what you're kind of saying? Maybe then what you usually would use?
What's so great about the book is, so the book was an accident, actually, because I was, I have a pretty popular YouTube channel, and I'm always talking to my people that watch my YouTube videos, and I started posting inside of AI, which is having a conversation with AI. I started posting questions that people on YouTube were asking me, and then I get into a conversation with AI. It's like having an objective person there you're having a conversation with. And then I keep having this conversation with AI, and pretty soon, 150 pages later of conversation, I teach AI the golf swing, through the words the way I present it, and then AI starts teaching me back, so it creates this conversation. It's probably the first golf instruction book that's actually conversational, where you feel like it's asking the questions that you would want to ask, and that's what I really love about the book. So it's kind of an accident, and then I sent it to my publisher, and I said, you probably ought to take a look at this. This is a pretty good way to present the instruction. They loved it, and that's why we put the book. I really had no plan on writing a book until it just came out.
Wow, I love that. Okay, so Todd, have you heard this? Because I have, and I told my husband he should try it. Have you ever uploaded your golf swing onto like a Chat GPT and say, fix my swing?
I'm working on that app, actually, to let you know that. I'm not sure how many out there. I mean, obviously you can upload your swings to my company, and we have coaches online that will go through the process. But it's coming. I mean, AI is coming where I can take what I teach, you upload your swing to it, and then it'll go through the process. Matter of fact, in my book, the avatar, the AI named himself Sync. So he created a persona. So you actually talk. I'm actually creating an app where you can talk to Sync and he will teach you what I teach you. So yeah, I mean, pretty soon I'll substitute. I'll replace myself.
Embrace the future, friend.
You know what? No one could replace you. But I do want some advice. If people can't immediately get their hands on your book, of course, it's snowing here now in Chicago, so not many golf courses are going to be busy. Maybe we're going into the simulator. You know what, Todd? I love golfing. I can only make it 9 holes, all right? I get tired. And by the end, it's like, I don't know what happened. It started off strong. What is the main thing that I'm probably getting wrong, you think, without seeing my swing, obviously, when it gets to the latter part of the 9-hole game that I'm doing?
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you a quick story. So one time I played with a doctor friend of mine. We went out and played 18 holes, and he hits his first shot kind of in the rough, and we're playing along, and he's as we're getting in the cart riding around, he keeps talking about every shot. And after about 4 holes, I looked at him, I said, are you exhausted from talking about every shot you hit? I mean, you're making this a lot more than it needs to be. Just get up there and hit it, and then don't think about anything, and then go hit your next shot. And pretty soon, golf's kind of fun, because he'd actually play 9 holes and get a headache because he was so stressed out and trying so hard. You're just trying too hard. So I think you just got to do less out there. I mean, that's really what it's all about, is just being in the moment. That's why people love the game to begin with, and just be in the moment. So, by the way, I built a 6-hole training course. Matter of fact, I'm at my office right now, because I know how difficult golf is, and people don't want to go out there and spend all day on the golf course. So I built a 6-hole course, and we have tons of members that come out and just play 6 holes, have a good time, and take off. So.
Todd, that sounds like my kind of party. Hey, stick with us for a second. We're going to be right back after this short 1-minute break.
All right, great.
Welcome back, 10:57 with Todd Graves. It's funny that you mentioned just wanting to do the first half and then you're done. I'm one of those people that gets off the golf cart, hits a drive, and then gets back on, drinks a beer while my husband does the balls in between. Can you encourage or give us some encouraging words, because you were pro, now you're writing and you're teaching people how to golf. Maybe someone hasn't tried golf before, maybe they think they're not going to be good. Maybe it's someone who's listening that thinks, I could really use golf to help me professionally. I could take people out. What would you say to them?
I would say that you can make this, I mean, golf is a lot of fun when you play well. And really the process of learning the game, if you think about, if I was going to teach you to dance or anything that would be using your body to do anything, there's a process to it. If you're going to learn to play the piano, you would learn how to read the music and then where to place your hands. And golf isn't taught like that. Golf is taught, the normal person learns golf by grabbing a club, running out to the golf course, and then playing with their buddies, and they realize how difficult it is. I would highly recommend the systematic approach. I teach a very systematic approach, which I call, it's a 30-day training program that starts you in the proper order of learning. And this is where I think golf becomes so difficult, because people don't learn it in the right way. For example, learning how to just address the golf ball and set up correctly, that's a process that people kind of skip sometimes. And then just learning where the backswing should be and the positions of your body. If you can't hit the positions in slow motion, you're not going to be able to do it in fast motion. So just like learning to dance. So I would just recommend people take the correct approach, and that will speed up the learning process dramatically. And that'll make it a lot more fun. Just a ton more fun, because you start playing better sooner.
Well, you know what? You could see your passion. Obviously, you had a successful career. We appreciate you coming on, because I know that you had a golf academy, also already released a book, The Single Plane Golf Swing. It sounds like you're trying to make golf more attainable for people, because we also know it's pretty expensive. Really quick, where can people find your book if they're interested?
Go to theintelligentgolfswing.com. That's where you can get a copy of the book. If you want to check out my website, is gravesgolf.com. That's where I have all my schools and programs and things. But the book is available at theintelligentgolfswing.com.
Awesome. Todd, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to talk to you again, hopefully when it starts getting warmer here in Chicago and people we know are going to hit the golf course.
I love Chicago. Sounds fun. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back after this short break with the 11 o'clock hour of Chicago Now.
To Chicago Now. This is the 11 o'clock hour. Look at all those people out there around the beach. I'm actually kind of shocked about this because of the weather. But I guess, you know, to get snow in the picture.
Well, the sun is out. Look at people are throwing snowballs at each other. It's funny. Cute. It would be, actually, I could probably spend about a half hour just watching, people watching from here.
What did you think today with all this snowy weather?
You know what?
I was prepared for it.
Yeah, I was prepared too. I made sure I had my window scraper, which I didn't really need to scrape my windows, just clear. Oh my gosh, the amount of snow that I had on top of my car, I had no idea. It seemed like it was just a little bit. We're looking out my window down to my car, and then I get down there, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm going to be that person who can't reach the top, so it's going to blow on the person behind me. I'm sorry, anyone who was behind me on my morning commute.
Yeah, my daughter wanted to go outside and play in it.
Of course.
But she also made a declaration to me that has me a bit concerned.
What is that?
As a mom, she told me that she wants to be someone's girlfriend. His name is Corbin. He's in her class.
Is this the same one that you caught her
having a conversation with all in his face? Yeah, I'm like, how do you even know what it means to be a girlfriend at 3 years old? We got problems in my house now. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
You just have a little lover girl.
I don't want a little lover girl.
Yeah, no.
I really don't.
You'll have to set the boundaries, you know, tell her what it's all about. Once you say, hey, you know what, it's a lot of work being a girlfriend.
It's a lot of work.
Maybe you'll switch her attitude here with it. I don't know.
I don't know what to say. I honestly was floored. I had nothing to really say, but no, you will not be someone's girlfriend.
Well, you know what, I'm glad she let you know.
Yeah, at least she let us know. Okay, we got to let you know what's coming up on our show today. There is a concert like none other at Wintrust Arena, which will blend house music with a whole different bunch of different genres. And we're going to talk to the creators of that coming up a little later in the show. And we're also talking about this recent craze, and I think we've kind of talked about this amongst ourselves before, about GLP-1 drugs being used for weight loss. We'll find out why it's becoming such a popular option for people. I know a lot of people that look completely different by just taking some of these shots, Wegovy and all the rest of them. But first, more young people, and I follow this doctor.
You do? Okay,
yes, I do.
My jaw was on the floor when I first read this.
I follow him because, first of all, he's hilarious. Secondly, I was looking into maybe seeing if he could do some with this double chin. But anywho, more young people are opting to get facelift surgeries, and a local surgeon is explaining this trend. I'm really shocked that young people would be doing this.
And when we say young people, we're talking about people in their 20s.
Yeah, I'm not that young. Joining us right now is Dr. Benjamin Coughlin, with plastic surgeon at Many Faces of Chicago. First of all, I love your social media. You're hilarious, by the way. So not just on the medical side are you smart, you're also pretty funny. Let's talk about this. Why are so many young people opting for facelifts at such a young age?
Well, thanks for having me. You know, it all kind of stems from the same spot, I would say. Likely this social media influence. But 20 and 30-year-olds, even young 40-year-olds getting a facelift, I personally think is crazy. There's a little bit of, there's this trend to kind of do it, but you really got to be careful. I mean, facelifts classically are for people over 50. In 2024, the younger population made up approximately 2 to 4% of this. 2025, it's like 30% of these people under the age of 45 are getting these facelifts. Now, yeah, the ones I was showing you is not a facelift. So I'm kind of being this proponent of don't overdo it at a young age, please.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, so are we talking about, doctor, full facelifts? Because you also hear about what is it, the threads that also kind of pull back your face?
Oh, yeah, the
maybe that would be a little bit more age appropriate. I don't know. Are we talking about full, you're going under the knife, lifting your face?
That's kind of the new thing, is everybody's pushing this facelift on younger and younger people. And, you know, the thing is, if your skin is not actually loose, if the tissues actually haven't fallen and separated, then the lift is just, it can lead to, one, a little bit of that odd look. We've all seen it. Two, the scars can widen. Three, when you do become 40, 50, 60 years old, the second, third facelifts are really that much harder. So less is more. I just keep encouraging this to everybody. You know, go in there, be clear with your goals, and don't go in there saying, hey, I want a facelift because it's hot. Go in there with clear goals. Let somebody that you trust kind of guide you on how to just make little tweakments.
Doctor, you said second and third facelift. So are you seeing people that have had a facelift maybe many, many years ago, as they age, they then need to? Is this like a routine maintenance, or is this?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if a facelift, even in the very best of hands, these ones, still only lasts about 10 to 15 years, right? So you get it when you're 20. I mean, hopefully you're going to need 5 more facelifts, right? That's bonkers. You don't want to start too early. But it's just these 20 and 30-year-olds, their skin is not changed, their bone hasn't eroded, their muscles aren't thinned. It's just not appropriate for a facelift, to be honest. Like this woman, just a little bit of a tweak. I did some fat sculpting, we did a little filler, gave her some contour. She's super happy, but there's no scars. It's easy. So less is more, I promise you. And I think the people saying to overdo it, they're really doing a disservice for people.
Doctor, I got to ask you, because looking at that woman just there, you would think that she had something more than some, I don't know if that's considered fillers or what. How do you know when it's, you know, I look at my face sometimes, I'll speak from my own personal experience. I can't speak for anybody else. And I think, man, this face is really round. It needs some contouring. Makeup isn't doing it. When do you know the difference between maybe needing a few, you know, pokes here and there versus actually going under the knife?
Yeah, it depends on your anatomy, it depends on your goals, it depends on the skin thickness, the bone structure, the fat content, the muscle atrophy. So everybody's a little bit different, but that's really the key. It's tailor-made to each specific person. You know, an 85-year-old woman with really thin skin, okay, we really can't do much. Somebody in their 30s with nice skin, that just the smallest bit of structure, a little bit of fat sculpting, you can make a really nice change. You know, it's really, there's no cookie cutter approach to this kind of stuff. You really got to get it tailored to your anatomy and your goals. That's really what it comes down to.
You know, it sounds like you're honest, and you probably had some crazy requests in your career. But have you had anyone come to you that's a little bit too young, or in their 20s, early 30s, and ask for a facelift, and what has been your response?
100%. It's more common than you think. I honestly sit down and go over the anatomy, and I just say, listen, if you're gonna do it, you do a facelift when things have changed significantly, when there's actually excess skin, when the muscles have widened, and if you take you know, these structures and you just explain them the anatomy, and you look at their goals, you look at what they have and what they want, I think most people will understand it ultimately. The times I see things go poorly, which I do a lot of revision cases, this 25-year-old person goes in, says, I want a facelift. The doctor does a facelift, and the scar is widened, they look odd, or worse, they go to Turkey, they go to somewhere else, and they just do what the patient says. You don't want to go in requesting a surgery. You want to go in requesting, okay, I just want a little refreshment. I want a tweakment. How can I best get there? That's the way to approach it, if you want to do anything. I tell every patient, you got to compare it to the option of doing nothing. It's much cheaper. There's no downtime. It's much easier, you know, so it really comes down to what you want, how much money you want to invest, how much downtime, how much change you want to see. It's more complicated than just, boom, I want this.
Yeah, I think we're living in a world of where people keep aiming for perfection, and in some cases it really doesn't quite exist.
you know, it 100% doesn't exist. The round faces want to be sculpted. The sculpted faces want to be round. I say nobody's happy if it makes everybody feel better. It's good for plastic surgeons, but probably bad for the world. You know, the big butts want to be small. The small butts want to be big. It's a crazy place.
You know what, doctor? We have a lot more to get to, but we're going to take a quick 1-minute break and let Tia gather herself.
You're hilarious,
I want to ask you more about some of these, you know, out of the country international surgeries that people are getting, because we know that those are very popular. Okay, we'll be right back right after this.
I'm on vacation.
Welcome back to Chicago Now. This one will get your attention. We're with Dr. Benjamin Coughlin, plastic surgeon at Many Faces of Chicago. So before the break, I asked you, okay, you know, people are going overseas, Mexico, they're going to Turkey, but to get some of these surgeries, whether it's a facelift, you know, something job, some other stuff going on. Yeah. You know, what kind of risk do you see with going to a different country and getting some procedures?
Okay, quickly, my little disclaimer so people don't hate on me too much. There's very good surgeons in every country, honestly. So I'm not hating on the specific surgeon. What I will say is they have set it up so easy that people think it's cheap. They think it's easy. They say, boom, I want a facelift. And this person might go somewhere and ask for a facelift. This person might go somewhere and ask for a facelift. This person might go and ask for a facelift. And then boom, they just, that place, you just buy the procedure. But each of those people needs something a little different. So what, you know, that's one. Two, the good and bad parts about our regulation in the U.S., we are really regulated very tightly to our level of cleanliness, our level of sterility, what we have to do pre-op and post-op and the research. So that's all I can speak to is here, that you got to be careful with where you're going. Not to say that you can't get a good outcome and there's not good surgeons, but you just really got to be careful with what you're looking into. You know, look at the reviews. Find a patient that was operated on by them. You know, those are the kind of things you can do to do your own research on it.
I got to ask you, because one facelift that comes to mind that people were talking about right away was Kris Jenner, and people were shocked because I don't know if you did. I don't think you're the one that did that face, but it looks so good. Is that a situation where you're saying that in 10 years or so, she'll be much older, that person may have to get another facelift because of aging or?
Yeah, I mean, so Kris Jenner, she does look spectacular. She does. I would caveat that with, if you look at some of the other photos that you see of her that aren't super touched up, you can see, like, she doesn't look as good as you think she does. So I just warn everybody that, like, whenever anybody says she looks awesome, I'm like, okay, did you ever see her in person? She looks good, and it was a nice facelift. I'm not saying I did it. I'm not saying I didn't do it. But she looks spectacular. What facelifts do, all of these procedures just put you at a new baseline. So, you know, in 10 years, you're 10 years old. If you take really good care of it, if you watch the sun, if you keep up with your little lasers, fillers, that kind of stuff, then you can maintain it longer. But it just puts you at a new baseline. So it is very common that people get 1, 2, even 3 facelifts. So you just don't want to do it too early.
You know, I loved, unfortunately, I loved that show. What was it, like Botched, My Surgery Botched or something on TLC back in the day?
It was a good show. Yeah.
Have you had any cases where you have fixed someone's face from a surgery gone wrong?
100%.
How bad was it?
I would say, unfortunately, now the majority of the cases I do are some sort of a revision. Even if it's not a complication, it's just they weren't completely satisfied. And I think a big part of it is it's so easy for people to go in and say, I want this, the doctor does this. So I think we're kind of, even though this is aesthetic medicine, it's still medicine. We still got to do a diagnosis. We still got to do a workup. We got to be clear with their goals. So, and I mean, everybody has complications. Things go wrong. I think that's really what you're paying for, is somebody that will own the complication. They'll do their best to work with you. They'll get you. I mean, I care. I remember doing surgery on somebody. She's like, I had spine surgery. It seems like you care more about your outcome than my spine surgeon. And I mean, we are the ones who really like this get really obsessed with the outcomes. I mean, all I do is the face. So if I mess it up, you're going to walk around and people are going to know that I messed it up. So I promise you, I want it to look better than you do. I swear. So
I must ask you, in the world that we're living in, you mentioned Kris Jenner, and she's not alone. There's so many celebrities, and even I am guilty of this. We're touching up pictures, etc. Do you think it's almost creating like body dysmorphia as we continue on this route of social media, seeing people look almost perfect? Nobody's perfect. Go ahead.
It's even more intense than that. I'm actually writing a book. It's coming out, El Gore Beauty, it's called. And it's now to the point where these algorithms are driving it. It used to just be touch up. Yeah, we did a little Photoshop. But now these are completely algorithm generated images that are not attainable. As a surgeon, it's even more frustrating because I'll have people come in and they're like, I like this. And the eyeballs are actually bigger. Like the white of the eyeball is bigger. It's like, you can't do that. And they're like, no, but I want to look like this. I'm like, that's not human, So it's just, we're getting to a whole nother level. I wouldn't even, body dysmorphia is a little bit of an aged term now. Now it's this, algorithm-driven beauty standard that is unattainable on so many levels that I think it's really messing people up.
Well, you know what? I look forward to that book, and even with Kris Jenner, because that's what I was going to mention too. It must be frustrating. Someone brings in this
picture of
Kris Jenner. Well, you know what? She's a beautiful lady. Not saying that person at home who is bringing that picture in is not beautiful too, but people really have to go in and set their expectations, right? And know that what they're asking for might be way too high of
or
what's
not
actually
real
in reality. Yeah, or not real. Yeah, straight up not real.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, selfishly, I only want to have happy patients. So it's just like, if I don't think I can make them happy, if they're showing me this and I think I can't deliver it, then I mean, it's just not going to work. So you got to kind of let them understand that it's not. And I mean, I try to advise these people. I'm like, I can't do it. And I mean, I am saying I'm the best, but I'm like, I don't think other people can do it either. So just be careful with yourself, because there's a lot of go-getters out there that'll try to do stuff to people that they probably shouldn't, and then the patient's unhappy, and then it's just this snowball effect that I hate to see.
Yeah, it's almost like AI, essentially, is really what it is. Like, you're fabricating something that will never, ever be. I do want to ask you, in terms of your social media, because you are very fun on social media, very out there beyond just, the medicine. What made you decide to do that? Because I was telling Gabby in the break, that's how I even came upon you. I wasn't looking for a surgeon. You just showed up in my algorithm and your videos were funny.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't get away without seeing me, I say, Yeah, it was kind of COVID, I think, when I really started getting on it, because we were shut down for a little bit. But it's just kind of exposure to get my name out there, to get my face out there, to let people see what I can do, to do as much as I can to preach for people to get good care. And then there's a little bit of a marketing algorithm to it, right? I do something funny, then I post a good before and after, then I do something with the staff to show the environment. So there is a little bit of a method to the madness, but yeah, it's just, it's what I can do to kind of get myself out there, I guess.
I love it.
And then I definitely turn off a good portion of the population that doesn't want to see me. But, most of my patients, I say I would kind of hang out with. Like, you don't come and see me if you don't like me. I mean, I have plenty of haters out there. So, but there's somebody for everybody.
You know what? Yeah.
I can't see
Forget the haters
on you.
No, exactly. You're such a cool guy, and we really appreciate it, because we know you're busy, you talking to us. Starting your profession, did you ever think that it would get to the point where you're like, you know what, something's calling me to do more, to write a book? Because obviously there's a really big pull inside of you to know that you're going to actually sit down, take all this time, and do something for others.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, honestly, I think that's why it's going to be a unique role, and it's almost done. It's because I'm honestly, I'm busy enough. For better or worse, I'm plenty busy now. So I don't necessarily need more patients, but you're just seeing, and I have young kids, so you're just seeing this like twisted environment, which I think is happening rapidly. And like you mentioned, it's pretty much AI driven, algorithm driven. It's slowly tweaking people without us knowing. Then it's like, are we training the algorithm, or is the algorithm training us? It's like this kind of torment that I think people are making lifetime. They're adjusting their bodies and their face based on these decisions. And yeah, it's happening in real time. So I'm just trying to kind of call it out. I don't have the answer, unfortunately. My wife read the book and she's like, you don't even tell people how to fix it. And I was like, I don't know how to fix it. I'm just pointing it out.
Well, some of it is trendy too, because like even, I'm not a fan of the Kardashians, but even the Kardashians, you know, they looked one way at one point, they then morphed into someone else, and now they morphed back to kind of like semi, not the original faces, because I don't think they could get back there, but you get what I'm saying. They morphed their bodies back to some degree.
They're lucky. They have the means and the access to kind of yo-yo like that. I mean, a lot of people, they spend all their money doing one thing, then, you know, so they're a unique, you know, it's hard to compare ourselves to them. Yeah.
Before we let you go, they just gave us the time. How much is a facelift on average? How much is a facelift?
Ooh, this is a hot topic. People love this. I know somebody that charges $400,000. What? That's a good headline. You know, I also know people that charge $8,000. There is a huge range. It's way more complicated. You can do a whole episode on this. But you know what? At the same point, like, you know, you redo your kitchen. I mean, I was going to redo my kitchen. They quoted me like $120,000. And then I'm like, damn, man, I got to charge more for my facelift. This guy's charging me $120,000 to do my kitchen.
No kidding.
So, yeah, it can really range. It depends on the amount of work we got to do, the downtime, how much invasive we got to get you, and then ultimately it's a supply and demand thing. It really comes down to that.
Okay, well, we're expecting one day when we're curmudgeon old ladies for us to get a discount. Okay, Benjamin?
I'll give you a discount. With my face. All right. Nice to see you, doctor.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, it was a pleasure. All right.
I'm going to grab my phone, hit the follow button, because he's funny.
He's hilarious online, too. Okay, coming up, we are talking with the people behind Not Just Another House Party. We're going to have them break it all down right after this break. Welcome back.
Dave, Jeff, Dave.
To Chicago Now. We'll have you guys sit down if you'd like. I'm going to sit down myself. And you know what? We try to keep people engaged because it's a quick break, and that's for good reason, because we want to get to other exciting news. We're taking a live look at the city. Some of that snowfall has disappeared, thankfully. Now we just have a nice winter wonderland.
Yeah, but this is something that'll get you all warmed up, right, and get the blood running. We're talking about Not Just Another House Party. This is really interesting because you're taking different genres of music, putting them all together, and joining us to talk all about this is Terry Hunter, the concert headliner and Grammy Award-winning artist. Producer, we have Dave Jeff, one of the concert hosts. What made you come up with this idea to begin with?
Yeah.
Well, really, it was a lot of artists that I worked with before, like Yolanda Adams, Raheem DeVaughn, Estelle, and I figured that we needed to do some type of show to where we put this all together. And so my background, obviously, is house music, and it comes from the city of Chicago. But they try to mix up the genre so much. It's like hip-hop is on its own, R&B is on its own. And I'm like, I did these remixes for these icons. Let's do a big venue type of situation and bring everybody together.
Has the response been pretty good? I mean,
it's been amazing.
Like the people you're trying to get in contact with and get there, they're going to be getting there?
Yes, they're getting there, and thanks to what you guys doing this. So yes, absolutely, we're getting that word out.
I gotta ask, so when I think of like a Yolanda Adams, right, gospel music, every time I've ever seen her was in a gospel setting.
Yes.
How hard was it to get her to come to do something where you're going to have
Yes.
everybody there, because usually,
Yes.
you know, gospel people can be a little,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
a little hesitant about things like that.
But see, that's the thing about house music. House music is all about love, positivity, and house and gospel go together. It's straight up universal. And so the thing of it is congratulations to Yolanda. She just got a Grammy nod for the new album Sunny Days, which I'm on, which is a house music remix.
Congratulations to you then.
Absolutely. So that's kind of how she fits in that whole scope of genres and why we put the dance music and gospel together. So
I love that.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, Dave, maybe you can answer this question as one of the concert hosts. You know, what do you hope the vibe is going to be that day? Is it going to be kind of a mix of emotions as you go through the show? What are you trying to get through?
I mean, it's going to be a party. Like Terry brings a party. Yes. All the other guests, the other DJs, the Jazzy Jeffs, the Dion's, and everybody there. It's definitely going to be a party. And
absolutely.
In the arena, it's going to be, you know, seats there on the floor, stage, and then everybody's going to be together, just kind of rock it out.
And that's what it is with house music. What's
that's
crazy,
all it is.
you know, when you hear house music, I don't even know why having seats, because nobody sits.
Right. Stand up, it's move.
Absolutely. That was important for us to have the floor and the VIP for people that want to dance. And then the people that was like, hey, I want to dance, but I want to sit down, you still got that option in an arena format. So it was important for us to do that.
Talk about the Chicago aspect. Who you will have representing Chicago? Obviously you guys, but who else representing
we got Grammy Award winner Jay Ivy, Teresa Griffin, Tifa is performing, Tari Teray, I said Jay Ivy, Shantae Savage, yes, Shantae Savage, Slick J Adams. And so we're going to represent the city well with all of those local artists along with the big artists.
Is this the first time you're doing this?
It's the first time. I think this is the
come
first.
Up with it for this to be the first time?
Because you know what, it's never been done before, in my opinion. I've never seen this type of mix with all genres, with house music and R&B poetry, and so I thought it was important because we all love the same music. It's all soul music, and so why not put it together? And so I'm remixing these artists, making house remixes for them. So why not put it together and do one house?
You know, and to be honest with you, not only here in Chicago have we not really seen this, but also nationwide. I don't know.
This is going to be a world tour.
This is just the beginning. This is
the beginning. Absolutely. This ain't a one and done thing.
This is the birth of something really cool. Really cool.
I saw on that flyer Dion Cole.
Yes.
The first thing I thought is comedy. Then I thought acting, but he also spins.
He's a DJ and he's a recording artist. So we have 2 records out as well. Right. So he's going to be performing those records. And you know Dion, he's going to get up there. He might say some stuff and be funny.
Right. Say something.
And then he's going to probably DJ. So he's going to do it all.
Yeah.
So this is November 15th.
Yes, this Saturday.
Still available?
Absolutely. Please go to Ticketmaster.com, get your tickets.
Now, go now.
You don't want to have the FOMO effect.
Yeah,
it's true.
You want to get
I hate that.
Absolutely.
And you know what? In Chicago, we do have that, because then you see the pictures from the event, and you're like, man, I could have been dressed up, I could have been there, and we're not there. And it's getting cold.
Absolutely.
So people are looking for things to do, you know, when it gets cold.
Yes. Oh, we got
it's going to be like a block party vibe inside.
In an arena.
And what do you say? Just come as you are? Like, should people, you know, dress to the nines if they want to? Can they come?
But listen,
remember Monica and Brandy, they put out a statement of how they wanted people to dress.
But listen, we're having a battle of the high schools, so we're asking people to come represent their high schools, their year, you know what I'm saying, their colors, whatever. I went to Hyde Park Career Academy, the best school, and whatever.
You know what's crazy about that? I've lived in a lot of places, and only in Chicago do people still have the battle.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yes,
this is our thing.
It represents where you're from, where you came up, the whole night, and all that. So you have to represent your high school.
So we're going to see who in the building. We're going to call them all.
Kenwood is in the building.
Whatever. They boozy.
Broncos in the building.
That's going to be really fun.
Hyde Park.
Okay, don't lose the excitement.
Yes.
We got to take a quick break.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll be right back.
Absolutely.
talking about not just another house party, a multi-genre music concert that's happening this weekend at Wintrust Arena. Thank you so much. We have Terry Hunter and Dave Jeff here.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about, if people are interested, you know, they're hearing the details, hearing how excited you two are, and how excited, honestly, we are too.
Yes.
You said you're trying to make it a little bit more accessible for folks, because we know that times are hard.
Absolutely. Times are hard right now, and what we wanted to do is to let the people know that we're thinking about them, and so we're offering a 30% discount on tickets. So go to Ticketmaster right now, get that 30% off, and save some money.
I want to also point out the fact, I know we were talking about it being cold and going inside, but this weekend's weather
is going to be great.
Is a different vibe.
60, a total different vibe from right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 60 degrees, so even more reason for people
absolutely
be outside.
I want to ask you about the Battle of the High Schools. Why was that important for you to do?
It's so Chicago. You know, it's just where we're from. It's so Chicago. Yeah, he gonna
Southside by the lake.
Kenwood.
Southside by the lake.
See, and you see, this is my brother, and you see what happens, right?
I see.
So we're gonna represent the city.
And it's time, because he's way older than I am. He's way older than I am.
How many years?
I'm cuter though.
How many years are you older? I mean, how many years are you older?
What?
Like
4, 5.
Oh, that don't even.
He's a whole high school career older than I am. It's okay.
Nothing.
It's not, absolutely.
5 years?
That's it. That's nothing.
You know, we mentioned, guys, some of the bigger names, right?
Yep.
Do you have some maybe more upcoming names here in Chicago that are going to be?
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. So on the event that's opening up the arena is my son. His name is DJ Ty. He's 18 years old. And listen, he's doing amazing things as a DJ and producing, and so he's going to be opening up the arena. So we're going to get him to get all of his age group to come out, and so we're having a LeBron Bronny moment on Saturday.
That's pretty cool. Get out of here.
So let me ask you this: if a person's watching right now and they're like 20s, 30s, 40s. What's the age group? Does it not matter? Are you going to cover all age groups?
It does not matter. Like you said, you got Jazzy Jeff. You got these great DJs, and then everybody goes from the Dion to the Yolanda. It's all the genres of music that you hear all day anyway.
Raheem Devon.
Yes.
Estelle, American Boy.
American,
You have Pastor Chris Harris.
Absolutely.
A pastor on the flyer.
Absolutely.
Break that one down.
So that is the whole thing. So we want to end it on a high, on a gospel moment, right? And so we're going to go through the performances, and then that's how we're really going to set up Yolanda Adams. And then I have Mark Hubbard and the voices as well. Full choir. So we're going to go into a gospel moment. We're going to take you to church and get you prepared.
You know, as we...
Boom, a moment.
Look at you, you're hilarious.
It's going to be a moment.
As we get closer to the end of the year, you know, when you talk to a lot of people, we feel like it's been years. This year feels like years.
Yes.
It does not feel like 1 year. It feels like several years.
Absolutely.
Why do you think it's so important for people to get together and have a good time as we kind of we've gone through a lot. I mean, this last year, I mean, no matter who you are, you have gone through some stuff this year.
No, you have. And I think one of the main things in our industry as far as music is this big AI talk, right? And so not having a human touch. And this is one of the reasons for us to get together, because we need that human interaction. We need to feel each other. You know what I mean? With that energy is something. I just know with artists, if you have the right crowd and the right energy is in front of you, it's no telling what'll happen.
And music does that.
Yes, absolutely.
Music brings people together.
What do you think of this? I mean, there was an interview done, I think it was just last week or the week before, of a young lady who's from the South, created this voice. I saw the music because I'm like, wait a minute, I've never seen this person perform. I've never seen them play an instrument. I knew it was AI, and then this big interview comes out. What do you think of that, being in the music industry where you pour your heart and soul out, you tour for people to know your name, and then here it is, somebody on social media creates an AI.
100%. It's been an ongoing conversation of producer friends and DJ friends. You know, I think like anything, it's a tool, right? And you can use that tool the right way or the wrong way. And so I'm not with the fact of people on the music side will go in and say, make me a record that sounds like Stevie Wonder singing, but also Earl Young on the drums, also a Motown sound, and then you hit enter, and then it spits you back whatever, and then you're saying you produced that.
No, you didn't.
No, I have a problem with that, because if we lose that human touch and that soul, what do we have?
Robots.
There you go.
Robots.
There you go.
I mean, that's what we
there
have,
you
a
go.
lot of
But you
robots.
know, yes, it's good, but I feel at the end of the day, and I hope this is the case, that you'll be able to feel it, right? When you're listening to something, to know if it has the real person.
But the thing about it, this AI stuff, you can't tell.
Yeah, you can't really tell.
It's really good. It is really, really good, and it's surprising to hear if you do something, prompt something on some of these music apps, tests, what comes back is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe is there a prompt to people at home if they do come across some of these like AI generation?
No, because like the one person we're talking about, I had no idea. I did my research.
But can you like, I don't know, can you like not report them, but you know, flag people? At least?
Well, you know what it is? I think that they need to say this is an AI-generated record.
You would think.
Its own category. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what has to happen.
The normal person,
and
maybe
I still don't
someone
think they should
elderly,
qualify for
I don't know. Like, yeah, you wouldn't know. My grandparents probably wouldn't know.
No.
Going back to the event, because you said
Because we can go. That's the effect that it has.
Right.
You have a long lineup. We're looking at the graphic with all the names on there. How much time should you set away for the 15th? How long are you going to be there for?
Doors open at 6 p.m. Show starts at 7 p.m. We have Rakim, which is a hip-hop legend. I am super excited that he's going to be there. And then him and Jazzy Jeff are going to do a set. And then it's going to be something special. I don't want to give it away, but I'm bringing out all of those artists that you see that's on the flyer. So Dion Cole, Raheem, Estelle, Jay, Tifa, Tari, Teray. Like we just gonna hit them. It's a non-stop party.
On a party like that. You can't put an end time on a party like that.
But you look at it and you're like, okay, is this all day?
It might be.
The time is going to just be a good time.
There it is. That's the time.
That's the time. A good time.
But get there early. Get there early. Please. Trust me.
Okay.
Please.
November 15th.
Yes.
Doors open at
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
And just prepare yourself for party. Don't wear those.
Wear something comfortable. Wear something comfortable.
I love it.
Yes.
It's gonna be a good time. Well, thank you both so much for doing it.
Broncos.
You're gonna still do that, huh?
Broncos.
All right, stay with us right here on Chicago Now. We'll be right back.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fox Local.
Welcome back to Chicago Live.
Okay, well, that sounds like a really exciting event.
It does.
Yeah.
Don't wear your high heels. You know, I've done that before, gone to an event, trying to be all cute, wearing those 5-inch heels.
And then you figure out that it's just not worth it.
I have to walk back to the car with no shoes on, or get somebody to put me, my husband to get me
piggyback ride,
get on his back, or call an Uber, to just to get to the car.
It is what it is.
It's an experience.
Well, you know, switching gears a little bit, because we're always looking back on history on the show. The Illinois Holocaust Museum is recognizing 87 years since Kristallnacht, also known as a Night of Broken Glass. We're talking more about it with Kelly at the Illinois Holocaust Museum. Thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us.
For having me.
Okay, so let's first talk, for those who need a refresher, can you explain this event? What happened back 87 years ago?
Yeah, so Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, was a period over 2 days, November 9th and 10th, 1938, where we saw an escalation in violence against the Jewish community. Over 30,000 Jewish men between the ages of 16 and 60 are arrested and sent to concentration camps. Synagogues are burned and looted. Jewish homes, schools, and hospitals are destroyed. And this was really a turning point in the history. As a member of the Jewish community, it became very clear that it was no longer safe to be in Germany at this time, and that you needed to try to get out.
You know, when we look at what's going on in the world right now, seems like the last 2 or 3 years we've reported on anti-Semitism being up. What do you make of that, and why is it important to remember these particular lessons in light of what's going on around the world?
Yeah, I think you can't help, just as a human being, to look at the lessons that we have to learn about this history. You know, Kristallnacht happened as a culmination of years of anti-Jewish legislation and dehumanizing rhetoric. And I think when you see the rise of anti-Semitism, the Jewish community being threatened at the highest rate that it has in decades, I think you can't help but be called to alarm. But I also think we have to also look at what's happening here in our own neighborhood in Chicago, here in the United States. Again, when we're looking at the same divisive and dehumanizing rhetoric even being used against our immigrant communities, and the othering that's happening and the violence that's taking place and families being torn apart, I think you have to look at the echoes of 1938 and take a look at what's happening today, even to our most marginalized communities.
You know, but you think back to that time 87 years ago. Of course, we don't know all the details, but that's why places like the Illinois Holocaust Museum, you know, exist, so you can go there and maybe relive some of the circumstances that attributed to that day, what happened that day. You know, it reads here, how did Kristallnacht, you know, allow violent acts against Jewish people to become the norm? How did it get to that point, I guess?
Yeah, it's an awesome question. I think it's two things. One, I think the greatest thing we see during this period of time is just indifference and silence. And oftentimes, this act of dehumanization and violence takes place when everyday citizens are neutral and silence against the actions that are taking place against their fellow human beings because they don't think that it concerns them. And I also think it's important to remember that these events, again, didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened over a period of years of warning signs and gradual steps. And again, that's why when we look at today, we have to understand that the events of Kristallnacht, the events that we're seeing today, it starts with words. It starts with separating people and excluding people and othering people. And we understand what that can lead to. But we have to work to use our voices to speak up now.
Well, Kelly, stay with us. We do have to take a quick break, and we want to continue having this really important conversation with you. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Chicago Now. We have Kelly Zaney with the Illinois Holocaust Museum joining us. We're talking about recognizing 87 years since Kristallnacht. I want to thank you again for being with us. I want to ask you this question because we have seen, you know, lately within the last 2 years or so, this attempt to erase history. I want to know, what do you make of that, considering that you are on the other side trying to preserve history and make sure the masses know, you know, what happened many, many years ago?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you make, you know, the perfect point of why our work remains so important. I think anytime you move further away from an historical event, you know, it's 87 years since Kristallnacht. We just commemorated 80 years since the end of the Holocaust in World War II. And I think oftentimes when we move further away from this history, it becomes easier to want to forget it and to move past it. But it shows, again, with the increase of anti-Semitism, increase of authoritarianism and hatred and violence worldwide, why the work of Illinois Holocaust Museum and the work that we're doing today remains ever relevant and even more important.
Yeah, you know, sometimes we just need the reminder. Like, I've heard of Kristallnacht before, but it's obviously been a while since I've actually had a conversation about it. Remembered some of the things that went down that day. You know, do you find when people go to the Holocaust Museum that, you know, they hear some of these stories, they learn about it in history books, but when they actually get to your location, see the writing on the walls, that it actually clicks?
Yeah, I think, we are seeing, especially over these past couple of years, a lot of people come into our museum seeking answers, right? Trying to use the lens of history to make connections to today and connecting and saying, oh, wait, I didn't, realize that this law happened then, or this event then led to this. And I think what also really clicks for people as you're looking at the picture now of our Experience 360 site is ultimately the human story and the human beings that it happened to, particularly the young people that come to our museum and realize, that white or gray-haired person in front of you, they were their age. They were teenagers and they were in their early 20s experiencing this, and they ultimately are able just to connect on a human level to those individual stories of love and hope and resilience and strength that also took place during that.
Kelly, at the beginning of your interview, you said something that really sticks with me. Even right now, you said that, a lot of times people see these things happening in our world. Some of this stuff is going to go down in our history, and people say, it doesn't concern me. It has nothing to do with me. That's not my community. I don't identify as one of those people. What do you say to those people that, are saying things like that right now? And history is going to show that maybe we're not going in the right direction here.
Yeah. Oh, such a good question. I
got you excited.
When we look at the Holocaust, or we look at history in general, I think the biggest thing is to remember, right, that it's human history. It's our history as human beings. Whether that event takes place here in the United States or halfway across the world, it's what unites us. It's what connects us. It's the history that we all share. And so then it's our active and collective voices. The greatest changes that we've seen take place in history, the greatest impact we've seen in history is when communities of all faiths, all ethnicities, again, as human beings, as humanity comes together to raise our voices and to say, no, this is important. This, an event happening that isn't right to any people, anywhere, anytime, I have to speak up as a fellow human being, as my brother and sister's keepers, right? That I think is the most important.
That's a great answer. This might be a silly question for you, though, Kelly. Remembering back on these dates, so this happened the 9th through the 10th, right? So today's the 10th. What's the best way to maybe, start conversations about this? Is it actually, physically starting conversations maybe in your workplace? Oh, can you believe what happened 87 years ago today? Or is it as simple as maybe reposting something on social media? Does that truly help the cause?
Yeah, I think the greatest thing we can do, right? Education has power. Raising awareness has power. And I think that when we can expand the knowledge about the events of Kristallnacht with any event really connected to the Holocaust, bringing it up in work, like, hey, did you know that today this event happened? Or sharing something via social media that you might say or see a survivor testimony, or even the social media posts of the museum. And just spreading awareness. I think at the base level, if we can start by doing that and making more people aware, we're all the better, and it's a good jumping off point to bigger conversations and dialogue.
Kelly, before we let you go, can you let people know maybe the website of the museum so that they can come visit?
Yeah, so we are at ilholocaustmuseum.org, and I encourage everybody to visit our new downtown satellite location, Illinois Holocaust Museum Presents Experience 360, which is located at 360 North State, right in the heart of the city.
All right, hey. Kelly Zaney, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time, and thank you for coming on our show today.
Thank you both for having me. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you so much, Kelly. We're going to switch it up and talk about health again.
Losing weight.
You're losing weight. We heard all about GLP-1s and maybe people taking a lot of it, maybe people taking a little bit of it. But really, we want to get to the root cause of what's causing this weight loss craze. That's a hard word, craze.
I think because it's so dramatic. But we'll talk to an expert about it right after this break.
When you say
Okay, welcome back to Chicago Now. Now, Tia, we know that weight loss trends have been around for a while. This one is a little bit more dramatic.
It is like 1 month you're a little thicker, and then the next month you're not. We're talking about GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, and here to talk to us about this weight loss craze is Meg Bowman, licensed nutritionist and trauma expert. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get into it. You know, a lot of people have always talked about, you know, wanting to lose weight. We've seen it all over the place. It seems like with this, though, we're seeing more of it on social media. Do you think that's what's driving people to want to lose weight, because they're seeing these GLP-1s plastered on social media? Some of the celebrities are now saying, hey, I used it too. Yeah. These are my results.
Yeah, I definitely think social media is playing a role here. And there's also, you know, a lot of trauma that people have experienced over the past, you know, lifetime that really leads into potentially some disordered eating behaviors. And that also can contribute to a desire to, you know, just kind of have a feeling of control around food.
You know, do you think that's becoming more common because is it the pandemic? Is it just like life experiences that you've had, you know, through childhood into adulthood?
There is actually, studies are showing there is an increased amount of eating disorders since the pandemic. That is definitely playing a role. And we never know really which way it's going to go with trauma. Some people just can't eat. They struggle really badly to eat. And some people eat past the feeling of fullness, and it's, you know, partially genetics, and it's partially a little bit of a roll of the dice which way you might go.
How can somebody recognize, maybe, you know, they've been trying to lose weight, they've had a really hard time, and maybe they don't recognize that they have an eating disorder? How can you recognize that in yourself to even take the next step to go get help?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'm really curious about when I work with clients is, what does your nervous system feel like? When I'm suspicious about somebody maybe having an eating disorder, I may change the topic entirely and say, tell me the most terrifying thing that you might think about. My example is always skydiving. And if you had to have me skydive tomorrow, that would be a similar feeling to asking somebody to eat differently that has an eating disorder. So if you think of like the most scary thing that you could possibly encounter, and then imagine what it would take to get you to do that thing 3 times a day, that would be a similar feeling to somebody that might have a diagnosed eating disorder.
Interesting. So you're saying that these GLP-1s are kind of putting a Band-Aid on some of your emotional eating, when really you need to look at the root cause and heal yourself from there. And then you could have the same results. It might just take a bit longer than a GLP-1.
So definitely GLP-1s blunt appetite. That's what they do. And underneath is a lot of feelings that we have around food. And those have not necessarily gone away. So if we get off a GLP-1, if we, you know, start seeing slowed progress, those feelings are still under there. That relationship with food is still there. So it can be really challenging for people, even with the help of the appetite suppression, to eat normally.
Yeah, because you may, you know, see the results, and then once you come off of it, you still have those same issues that exist there. Meg, stay with us. We do want to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Get an 11.
to Chicago Now. We are talking with Meg Bowman, licensed nutritionist and trauma expert, talking really about, you know, GLP-1s, people take them, and then there may still be some underlying issues there, not just getting the weight off. It may be bigger than that. Can you talk to us about this? What is a polyvagal informed approach to nutrition, and what does that look like for those who are struggling with anxiety and depression?
Yeah, so polyvagal theory is a concept and an explanation of how our nervous system works that was developed by researcher Stephen Porges. And the best way to understand it is really we're aiming for safety. If you think of how many times you have felt unsafe in your life, and it may just be little unsafe, it may be big unsafe, but when we're working with food, we really want to choose an approach that feels safe to us. An example of not feeling safe, I recently had a client come into my office who was an ethical vegetarian. She had been vegetarian her entire life, and a provider asked her to go keto, and she felt unheard and she felt incredibly unsafe because the relationship wasn't there and the person wasn't listening to her. So a polyvagal informed approach to nutrition is really about selecting interventions that make you feel safe.
You know, people might have been, you know, dealing with eating disorders, you know, not trusting their bodies for years. And now they think, okay, this is this quick fix. But what would you say to those folks? You know, what can they do to help themselves before they reach for the medication?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think generally speaking, you know, these issues that we have around trauma and our relationship with food, these have been developing for years, and sometimes they take years to really parse through. So sometimes we, in the nutrition world, a lot of people look for, like you said, a really quick fix, something that's going to immediately make things better. And guess what? Sometimes it really just takes time to work through it. I had one client that we had about a year, and she went from not being able to bring any cookies in the house to being able to bring cookies in the house and just leave them there and not eat them, or eat them if she wanted to. But that kind of work, it takes time.
Let me ask you this before we let you go. What tips do you have for people that maybe they do want to lose weight, they want to do it the healthy way, maybe they don't want to reach for these drugs? What are some options out there for them?
Well, I think one of the things that I always work with clients on is just noticing and naming where your nervous system is, because we know that when we are not feeling safe, we are reactive and we are responsive. And sometimes that reactivity and responsivity has to do with food. So just knowing where your nervous system is and really working to feel safe and identify safety more of the time, that will allow you to have choice around food.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, I guess one more question for you. Meg, is there a place where people can follow you online or maybe find some more resources when it comes to nutrition and trauma?
Sure, yeah. Check out my website, megbowmannutrition.com.
All right, sounds good. Meg
Thank you so
Bowman,
much.
thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, and thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you tomorrow. Almost said hump day. I'm really trying to get through this week. We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a safe day, everybody.
See you later.